Hey, how you guys doing today? This is Doug. I'm going to talk to you about the myth of gun control. You guys know what gun control is. It's all over the news. It's pretty common. It's a pretty common topic even in political debates. I know you are immediately thinking right now, this is either some liberal trying to take guns away or some kind of whacked out conservative that believes too much in humanity. But really, I don't think that matters. The question is, why do we need guns? I'm sure you've heard of the phrase guns kill people, right? I admit that's partially true. However, if you think about it, people kill people. The phrase guns kill people, that honestly sounds like a very narrow thought. Did you know, according to the Bureau of Justice Statistics, that 31,000 people die from guns each year? That's including all accidents as well. But get this, if you think that's a significant number, according to the FARS.gov, of course, which is a government website, 41,059 people died from automobile accidents in the year of 2007 alone. 150,000 people die from heart disease, and then an estimated of 200,000 people die from medical malpractice every year. Believe me, I understand violence and crime is a horrible thing, and we need to do all we can do to deter it. However, pinning the blame on guns alone just doesn't seem like a responsible idea. Guns are used at the individual level. There are really 7 things needed in order to use a gun, or even to kill, or for the gun to even kill someone. The first one is that you have to have the gun in hand. The second is you have to have the ammunition in hand. Third, you have to load the gun by hand. And 4, chamber the gun in hand. And the 5th is remove safety with the hand. 6 is to point the gun at the target. And 7 is to pull trigger again with the hand. So it seems to me weapons don't kill people. It's the hands that hold them. Guns are merely a tool, just like anything else. Individuals and politicians make the case that if the guns weren't there, if they weren't available, that these deaths and certain accidents would have never occurred. That philosophy seems quite flawed on many fronts, actually. What do guns do? Well, of course, yes, they have the power to kill, but they have the ability to do a few other things as well. The most obvious one is to hunt. That's what presidents or elections use. Of course, Americans have to hunt, but also guns and weapons and firearms, they give innocent law-abiding citizens the power for self-defense from whomever may want to inflict harm on them. Criminals and murderers will always exist as long as there are humans on this earth. We all know a perfect world is impossible. So if guns and firearms were restricted from use, wouldn't only the criminals have the guns? And when you have the guns, you have the upper hand. It's all about the balance of power. There is a single fact you cannot deny throughout this entire video, that criminals will always be criminals. If guns were illegal, it would be just like drugs. The criminals would just get them anyway. Then the citizens would be defenseless, and criminals would do pretty much anything they please. A survey from the state prison inmates among those convicted for possessing firearms, the sources of the firearms were determined. 2% said they got them from a flea market or gun show. 12% said they got them at a retail store or a pawn shop, and 80% said they got them from a family, friend, or street buy, or an illegal source such as the black market. Currently, there are already many steps in place to prevent weapons from getting into the wrong hands, such as background checks every single time you buy a firearm. Of course, those background checks go through the government. And of course, firearm salesmen must keep all arms records for a minimum of 25 years. For firearm sales involving pistols, there's a 3-day waiting period, and of course that's in the state of Florida. Every state's different, and in order to get that 3-day waiting period not happen, of course you have to have your concealed carry. And in order to get your concealed carry, you have to be 21 years of age, and you have to take a test, and you have to pass that test. All these things are in place to prevent firearms from getting into the wrong hands. But by the wrong hands, it's not just criminals I'm talking about. I'm also talking about, the people that go into a public place and start shooting for no reason. Heck, actually, that's why there are so many people that are against firearms. There have been 3 recent shootings in the past 10 years that has generally made America think twice about firearms. The first one was Columbine back in 1999. The second one was the Virginia Tech shooting a couple years ago in 2007. And the most recent was the shooting in Binghamton, New York, at an immigration's office a month ago. These occurrences are nonetheless scary. However, they all have one thing in common, and that's that all the shooters in these incidents were mentally unstable and ended in them taking their own lives in the process. Mentally disturbed individuals are hard to really recognize from the rest of us. So why should the right of self-defense for Americans be stripped away by a minority of people that really do these incidents? They've only done these incidents only a few times. Okay, so let's say we do ban guns within the United States. What really would it be like? Well, according to telegraph.co.uk, an article that was published in 2002, England has had the title of having the 4th worst crime rate in the world, and that was determined by a report from the United Nations. This report came out shortly after they enacted their weapons ban. It claimed that England had 9,766 crimes for every 100,000 people. And it's also been reported that they only report half their crimes, so you technically have a 1 in 10 chance of a crime involving you. In the 3rd largest city in America, which is Chicago, in the state of Illinois, it's also known as the nation's most murderous city. It's illegal to legally buy a handgun there, and they've pretty much had this handgun ban since April of 1982. This ban was again passed to weaken crime and attempt to get weapons off the street. In the last year, Chicago has pretty much topped New York and Los Angeles in their murder rates and crimes. I'm honestly no constitutional scholar, but I do know that the Second Amendment was ratified on December 15th of 1791. It states that a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Certain politicians have attempted in altering this amendment, but the Supreme Court keeps dismissing any kind of alteration and deeming these alterations unconstitutional. The myth of gun control will likely be an endless battle throughout America, and I understand the opposition's point of view on the matter. However, you can call the police all you want, but when they arrive in 15 minutes, whatever's going to happen will already be over, and that's why self-defense is needed. Thank you for listening, and thank you for watching, and that's pretty much it.